Okay. Oh yeah, we're good. No, we're muted for a second. All right, we're good. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. On this channel, we show you guys how to not take profits, how to be an idiot. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We're in the middle of the week, and we have some bullish news. We had finally GameStop announced that they made their purchase of Bitcoin. And you can see here that they purchased 4,710 BTC as part of its strategic expansion into crypto. And so they have a lot of liquidity, and they have a $15.6 billion market cap. So the retail giant is intensifying its focus on digital assets to drive its transformation into a true modern company. Because if you think about it, like the way that we, I guess, are going to evolve with these huge companies is that they're going to start diversifying into things like Bitcoin. We've seen, with other companies, and also we have these big Japanese companies as well, like Metaplanet, and they're kind of doing the micro, the strategy approach, which was MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company, and what Michael Saylor was able to do when he first implemented his Bitcoin strategy showed that it can, if you do it right, it's profitable and it makes your stock go up. And it makes the value of your company go up. And it's a decent hedge against the inevitable debasement and the inflation of the currency, which has been happening over the past 4 or 5 years. So it's a good signal. It's bullish, but ultimately we're dealing with some major bearishness, though, with coming off of this all-time high. You can see Bitcoin on the daily has just been kind of staircasing, creating these little staircases. You can see as it went up, nice, daily green candle, and then some sideways action, nice green candles, sideways action, nice green candles, and now we're having the same type of sideways action happening right now with Bitcoin, but you can see we had a little bit more of a drastic candle, went to the downside on the daily from the all-time high, which was at basically almost right at 112,000. It was, 112,000, and then we had this daily candle that went all the way as low as 106.8. So we had a bounce off of this to try and retest, but you can see here clearly with the horizontal ray of 110,000, you can see the wick of the resistance where we hit a brick wall. We hit the wall. We weren't able to break through like the Kool-Aid man. We weren't like, oh yeah, and breaking through to try and get to this point, which was the 115, 120. This was our price target for a breakout through the line in the sand. The line in the sand being 109,000 resistance from January, and you can see it right there because the 109,000 resistance in January was actually wicks as well. It wasn't candle body. So this is what makes this area very dicey, is because these are wicks of resistance. This isn't candle body resistance. This is just like major wick. So, and what is nasty about this is if we do match this type of resistance from the 109, then we're going to plunge to 102,000. That is a possible bearish case scenario for Bitcoin right now if you're looking at it on the daily. That is a case. And if you think about it, look, here's the length of this wick from exactly where we just hit that resistance, and we could just trade right down to 102, and it matches on the bottom of this, literally exactly at the top of the candle, or at the top of the body of the candle, and the bottom of the candle wicks here that we had support. So it's looking a little funky right now. And it's so weird that even with the, so it's like we get this bullish news of we've been waiting for GME to buy and then we go down. It's like, what? And so we did the calculation, you know, that was they made a purchase of over $500 million of Bitcoin with that purchase, and it depends on their average cost. So it was around like 500 or so, maybe $600 million of Bitcoin as their first public purchase. And yeah, Bitcoin was like, yeah, I'm still going down. All right, so I'm curious what should I do here? Because basically now, like I'm in the gay zone, which we just put here. This is just it's just man, not cool. This was the same wick that we just were at on the 25th. And now we're sitting at that same spot, but now we're going a lot lower. We're going lower than this particular wick. So we can see 107 right here as being a potential target for today. And if we need to look at the stock market as represented in either the Russell or the S&P 500, we got the SPY futures. The ETF trust, not the SPY futures. Let's see, daily S&P looked like, yeah, it's not really, kind of giving back a little bit of its gains from the past couple days. Had some decent gains right here. Might be giving it back a little bit. We'll look at the Russell. Yeah, kind of giving back the gains. Giving back the gains a little bit, but we're in the middle of the week. So we still have some... well, now it's falling through the floor. All right, guys. I think I'm at this point, they're going to liquidate me. I mean, they liquidated... They basically got James. I think they got James. James Wynn... If you're familiar with James Wynn, he's been the talk of the town. He's been the super high leverage degen trader on Hyperliquid, and I don't know if he made it out alive. I don't know if he made it out alive. They are really, really trying to smack these high leverage traders, because you guys got to remember, like, what they do is that they stop loss liquidation level hunt. And the exchanges are very, very, very good at doing this because they have way more money than you do to move the markets and move that order book and move that chart. Because that's not retail. Like, you think retail's looking at the news and be like, oh, I guess I sell my Bitcoin right now. No, it's exchanges that have insider information and know exactly where your stop losses and your liquidation points are. And guess what? They're probably going to bring it there. They're probably going to try and bring it there. Or they'll bring it right there. Oh, they'll bring it right almost right there, and then you'll get out of the trade, and then it'll bounce right from that liquidation point. That's what's even more annoying, is that's what they like to do, is they will even bounce it right from your liquidation point just to make you even more mad. It's a nasty game that they play. But we're going to do our best to stay calm, because, there's no crying in this particular crypto casino, and we can't complain too much because we were the ones who put the trade in. We were the ones who, made the decision to go full degen on this one. So it's either take the L. You either take the L, you take the loss. You take the loss and you just reassess. Sometimes you might have to just take the loss and reassess. The only way I can see this recovering is if we can bounce off of this particular point right here, which was a decent support level, because that is what brought us right up to over 109,000. at least in this short term movement. But we got to come in with some volume, and I don't know. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it right now. So basically, we just have to survive now. So that's the whole point of this live stream is like, can you survive this volatility right now? Can you stay in enough to where they're just going to keep trying to beat you down and get you to stop? So then we can actually reap the benefits of the run. So, and yeah, I know, and it's so Shipman, you do make a good point. The sentiment, it's so weird that we had such a euphoria. Like, this is what is still kind of blowing my mind and making me feel like I'm insane. It's making me feel like I'm insane because the level of price that we are at Bitcoin right now is just astronomical. I mean, this is what we were hoping for, and retail is nowhere to be found. But there are reasons for this because you have to think about the level of retail euphoria when we were in COVID times and post-COVID and 2021 and 2022 and kind of those years coming out of 2020 of the full lockdown. And then once we started to like be unlocked, once we started actually coming back to life and going out, things were still weird. But the difference was that they injected a shit ton of money into the system and gave us stimulus checks. And we're giving people credit at the lowest interest rates we've ever had, very irresponsibly. So it makes sense that then so we kind of had a different type of mindset. It was just we were like, oh my God, we're alive. We all didn't die. And now we can get life going again. And so you got to think about it. Now we are in terms of trying to stop the wars and trying to fix stuff and not have everything crashing and burning right before our eyes over the past 4 years. Bitcoin's at all-time highs, and retail's nowhere to be found. It's weird. I don't know what the heck's going on, but I think it's because things are very expensive. The interest rates are super high. Debt is at an all-time high. People's debt is at a massive all-time high. And so it makes sense that retail's not thinking, oh yeah, let me invest. It's more or less like, let me try and gamble. Let me try and sports bet who's going to win, the Knicks or whatever. I don't know. So that's kind of what I think. That's what's happening. I know it's crazy. It really is crazy. But I think the price that retail is going to come in is when mainstream media across the board starts to report on I think either $150,000 Bitcoin or a $200,000 Bitcoin. It's one of the two. I don't know why, but it's either going to be 150 or 200,000 where mainstream media actually starts reporting like, whoa, Bitcoin is at 100, because it's this was a silent all-time high. Like, according to Retail Social Risk and Metric, this was a silent all-time high. For sure. Like, this was a complete non-covered all-time high, besides people like us who are insane and we're just like super loud about it and asking people and telling people, yeah, like, did you know Bitcoin's been breaking all-time highs? And they're like, no, what? And I'm like, where's your news source? What are you getting your news source from? Are you just on, I don't know. What are you on all day? But Smash up the likes, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's get it up. Let's get these likes up super fast. Like, that would be amazing. We got 11 people in here. Shout out to all the people. Shout out to Shibman. Shout out to how do I say your name? Is it just Donato Cabrera? I'm like butchering your name, but I just like calling you Cabrera. All right. Tony Trump. Shout out to Tony Trump. Shout out to Lasers. Shout out to Alan. And shout out to Davin. Shout out to everyone who's here. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we got 12 people in here, so we can get 12 likes. We got 13 people in here. We can get 13 likes. That would be amazing. And if you're watching on any other platform, like if you're watching on X, make sure you're hitting the heart button and reposting, because then that gets that X algorithm going. I am like really far away. I thought I was a little bit closer to being able to get monetized somehow on X, and I am... You have to have 5 million impressions over the past 3 months. I have 1 million impressions over the past year. So I was like, shit. I'm not as close as I thought I was. So I have currently, over the past 3 months, let me see if I can go into my metrics. I'd like, because I like showing you guys this. I think it's important to show you the reality of, if you say someone who's like you live stream every day, you're posting content, and this is kind of what it looks like. So if you're thinking about trying to do a channel or your own thing and create content, and you're like, how long does it take to get monetized? It really just depends. But I can show you some analytics real quick here. Let's see. So over the past 3 months, we have 542 verified followers. This is one metric. I'm probably like, am I literally, as I'm trying to explain this, am I getting liquidated? Okay. You guys have seen my trades get stopped out, and one of them actually get liquidated live on stream. I don't know if you feel the pain with me, or your own trade is experiencing that same type of volatility, but it's yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not the funnest, I will say. Oh, we gotta go to the 30-minute here. Yeah. Ugh. Oof. Eesh. Oh my gosh. Man, they keep doing this. They keep doing this. Davin, it's because I've been shadow banned. That's why. I 100% believe so. It's because I've been shadow banned. I'd like to think that I'm a threat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a threat. They just don't want to reward me. For some reason. I don't know why. Because I see all types of other channels that at least have broken through a little bit of the barrier, but they're just really being nasty with me. I don't know why, but they're just being nasty. They're not putting me in the search, but it's okay. I can't complain about it. I just have to keep, like the stream says, you have to survive. It's really a game of survival. Like, the reality is, like, it takes about 4 years on YouTube or whatever platform to start seeing results and to start seeing it kind of kick in. Sometimes you can get lucky and the algorithm, you'll get rewarded, and they'll just like put you in, and then somehow you'll catch a wave. And you'll catch a wave of stuff, and that can happen. That could have happened with my channel, but what happened with me is mine got banned. Like, mine went the opposite direction. Like, I was gaining momentum, and then they banned me. And then from then on, my subscribers have been complete raw from either people that have reposted or have reshared my stream or forwarded some of their viewers to my stream, and then those people subscribe. So, and then, you know, if Jason Casper like give me a shout out or something like that on his stream, and then I might get like 15 or 20 from there. So it's been kind of like steady, but it's not like from like true natural YouTube algorithm putting my stuff out there. 100% they're not doing it. So I have to just keep going until they do it. That's the only way. But I'll tell you what though, I like having the small, you know what? I like you guys. You guys are cool. You interact, you're in the chat. So I appreciate you guys being here. And you know, at a point, you know, right now I don't give a shit. Well, I'm not like surfing, you know, with my mouth like this going Bitcoin, or going like this, or putting my head, you know, I used to make thumbnails like that and I felt stupid. So I like to make my own type of thumbnails. Like I have my own style, and so I maybe my thumbnails aren't cringe enough, I guess. I don't have the, like, I'm like, but you guys gotta, yeah. It just takes, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like we can reference this on crypto. We can reference this in a new business. Like businesses, it's just recommended you don't even pay yourself at all for the first 2 years. It's got to go all back into the business. And like that's usually the reality is like you like you're not paying yourself until you're really actually making money, and then you can pay yourself, and then you can make sure everything is covered. You got some of the debts paid, and maybe you had to make a big purchase like on debt for something that was required for the business, you know. So you have to think about it. Have to think about things like that. I don't know. I think it's no, because that's not true. Like I was explaining, because I was asking my wife, and she was thinking, well, she was like, you talked about Trump too much when the algorithm was like not being nice to people that either mentioned Trump or put Trump in a thumbnail or in a title or whatever. And I was like, I don't think it's that, because you got to think, like, there's Trump reaction videos. There's like all kinds of super, you know, either right-winged or whatever you want to call it, Trump videos. And those things are going viral. This is getting tons of views and tons of likes. Like the algorithm was favoring those. Even though Google has been caught being a little bit more left-leaning, and obviously like Google being, you know, the kind of, yeah, it's not. I was like, no, it's not that. I was like, it's not that. It's there's something else, you know. Because it's pretty fascinating, but I don't know. I think just maybe crypto videos in general, I don't think YouTube necessarily likes. Like they're not pushing crypto content out in the front, on the front ends of like millions of people, like where like all of us, like they could be pushing us in the front end of finance and like education, but they're kind of putting us way down the totem pole. But it's okay. But I mean, you just have to battle through. You have to survive. But I like talking about this because it's the reality of a content creator, whether you're on YouTube or Rumble or X or TikTok, Instagram. It's just that these are the things that you're going to have to. You're going to have to think about. You have to assess it. I've thought about it. I've thought about changing the name, but I don't know. I don't think the name is really really relevant. it could be this, it could be the style, it could be the content. I mean, who knows? But you know, I come here, I still have fun. I have fun with you guys, and I think we're mildly entertaining. But we're about to I don't know what we're about to do now. We are about to, I think we're about to, I don't know, do you think we should take the L? I'm asking you guys now. What should I do? I mean, the trade's screwed. The trade's already like kind of, it's like pretty much toast. I mean, this is Bitcoin. This was a Bitcoin long that got away from me fully. I thought this sideways break was going to pop and at least retest back up to 109, like up here, and it's just I feel like it's just gonna keep going down. I know I didn't have a stop loss on this one. Yeah. So it's like at this point it's yeah. It's either I take. I mean, there's probably. I mean, there now it's almost like going past 80 to 90% chance that it's going to hit the liquidation point, because they want to liquidate the traders right now. If they got it this low, then the next point is going to be 106.5, and they're going to liquidate these trades. Unless a miracle happens and it really does bounce off of 107.1. It's yeah, because like if I take oh, this is a nightmare. This is my nightmare. This is my nightmare when literally yesterday I was running my freaking mouth and then like had opportunities to take profits probably like 5 different times, and I was just being an idiot. And now I'm here the next day, and I literally explained exactly what happened, or what would happen if you don't do what I just did to myself, is feel shameful and be humiliated. It's like, oh my gosh. Literally, go back to yesterday's live stream and listen to my ass. You guys were all there. Yeah, actually, yeah. What am I talking about? You guys are all the same people. The same people watch my live stream. And so, of course, you know what happened. I'm telling you to go back. You remember, and you're probably sitting over there thinking like, Dano, you freaking idiot. What are you doing? Now we just need a miracle. Now we just can we pray? Can we pray that we recover? Okay. This is what we need to do. We're going to look at the Coinbase chart on the 1 minute. Coinbase a lot of the times will end up at a premium price. Coinbase will always show you the premium price, I've noticed. If you look at the 1 minute chart and you look at Coinbase is always the first Bitcoin chart to pump before the rest of them do, like Binance and all that. But Binance is pretty close. But you'll notice that Bitcoin on Coinbase gets offered at a premium. Did have a nice little order block sell here at 107.5, but if we can get a W shaped recovery here on the 1 minute to retest back up, then we might have a chance, and we can ride this thing all the way back up. And then Jesus, I mean, what do we do? But this is just because we were just being a super degen. We're still bullish. I mean, we don't. I mean, I think it's obviously. I don't think Bitcoin's crashing. I think this is what they do to traders that are overzealous and are trading on sideways pinched action, because basically it's tough. I mean, look at this range. It's just like, you know what the heck's gonna. I mean, and then you can see these are 1 minute. This is the 1 minute. And look at how the 1 minute can still have a good price structure and up and down. You know, you can kind of have some levels. Look, trading on the VWAP here. You can see it was like respecting this nice little range here. But then look at this. This is just like garbage. Like, you know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. Boom. And then it easily in these moments it could go either direction. It could go and test up to the top of the VWAP here, or test the line in this, test that line in the sand. So that's what sometimes that sideways action is just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. Oh, and is it Vance? So did Vance hit the stage yet? The main stage? We were following. Let's see. We had I think it was Right Side Media Broadcast or something like that was covering it. But okay. Let's see. And then we got the Bitcoin Mag. Oh no, they haven't. No, they haven't hit the stage yet. I don't even. No. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah. Nothing yet. Yeah, because it's 11:30 now, and what time is it in Vegas? It's like a 3-hour difference. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, this is just like that sideways action is just a freaking nightmare. It's a nightmare. All right, I found some really interesting stuff. I keep thinking, I really do like Salana. I think Salana, if you think about it in terms of a blockchain that's been able to really survive like the mega, like, if anyone got in the valley of despair, it was Salana and Salana holders. Like during the point of the FTX crash, and I mean, in the network going down, and sometimes like all the different attacks on Salana. This thing has been able to survive a lot, and it's also just performing well. It really is. In terms of the speed, I like using Salana. If I have a choice to use Salana as a rail to of crypto, I'm gonna use it for stable coins or whatever it is. Like I use Salana. I mean, so it's like Salana, and the fact that it went so low and was still bought up super strong, and then solidified that it could handle meme transactions and euphoric, and then Trump minted he didn't use Ethereum, he used Salana. But there are some people that held, dudes. Trust me, there were some really delusional Salana holders. I bet that probably rode that sucker all the way down into the ground, and then maybe even bought more. There's always a few, and you don't hear about them because they're gone. They retired. They retired. We could have been those people, but if you have ADHD or ADD or whatever, then you could be very easily distracted. And Soul gets a bad rap too. Like Laser says he doesn't like Soul, and that's totally fine. But still get. He says, I'll give it its due credit. It's held up well considering. Yeah, and I think this really is my honest opinion. I really do think Salana is going to be the best performing altcoin still. Like, it's still going to be the best performing altcoin. In terms of growth, in terms of what it's being recognized institutionally, like with the ETF and with the futures trading. There's a CME Futures. Let's look. There's a CME Sol. I don't know. Is it this Bitcoin on Sol Futures? No. I don't know what the ticker is for that. Let me see stocks. Yeah, we'd have to look at that. I don't know if it's. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that. We'll have to find that. But yeah, Sol does have CME Futures like Ethereum and Bitcoin. There's evidence and sources that companies are creating Salana treasuries. So I find that really bullish. So you can see, and we mentioned before that Salana, if you go to DeFi Llama and look at the on-chain metrics of the stable coins that are minted. Where is my Sol? Where's my Sol? There it is. Okay. So if we go, I like to zoom out on Sol. You go to the weekly chart. Yeah, I think Sol has still a good opportunity to break to 900. Why do I think 900? There is a cup and handle on the weekly. It's a cup and handle on the weekly. Get all that out of the way. Get all these lines. I'm just kind of measuring the depth of the cup. I'm like, look, all right, if gold was able to do this, Bitcoin's been able to do this, and Salana kind of is kind of the layer one pick, still over everything, then it could be still the best performing altcoin in the run. 420%. In terms of the top 10. What do you guys think? You think it still has a chance? You think it can overtake BNB and XRP in terms of market cap? If these treasuries are being set up and we actually really do get Salana as kind of the de facto stablecoin pick. Look, stables like crazy stable minting, getting close to Tron. So like the only thing that's getting close to Tron right now in terms of stablecoin mints is Binance Smart Chain and Salana. All right, okay. This is just like This is a nightmare. I really hope it recovers. I hope this is a V-shaped recovery. Pray for a V-shaped recovery off of this stupid dump of sideways action for no apparent reason. There's really no reason for it besides market manipulation. There's no bad news. There's nothing that is driving this down besides market manipulation. That's it. It's just market manipulation. There's no I mean, there was good news today. There was good news. That's why it's stupid. That's why it's annoying. It's like there was good news. Remember what this cycle where we're like, what the hell's going on? This is the cycle of good news dumping the market every time. Every time we had something good happen, we're like, why is that? What is going on? And then we were almost gaslighted to do the opposite, do the inverse every time. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like Bitcoin strategic reserve signed in the order, and then system. But yeah, Sol, I think, is still going to be one of the top performing altcoins for sure. And not to mention, I mean, it's got the biggest coins on the blockchain, like Pingu, like Bonk. And speaking of all the bullish things of Salana, I got a couple different things. I guess we'll stay on Salana now. I'm trying to distract myself from this trade so I don't do something stupid. I already did, so I don't want to continue doing something stupid, so I'm just going to ignore it. I'm ignoring you. I'm ignoring you until you get to a level where I should start paying attention. Okay, so we'll play this clip of Virtual Bacon. Shout out to Virtual Bacon for being bullish, Soul. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Salana is now live on the MetaMask extension. Not on mobile just yet, but on the MetaMask extension in the browser, you can add Salana, and you'll have a Salana address. You can do all the things. And so now MetaMask has joined the Salana revolution. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty bullish. And so also, we have XYO has launched on Salana. But this is old news though. But it was rehashed up, but it was just as a reminder that you can hold XYO on Salana. There's not as much liquidity there, but that's if you want to just kind of have exposure with XYO on different chains. Obviously, with Ethereum being the strongest liquidity. All right, so let's see what Virtual Bacon has to say. Let's check. Let's see.
We must not discount the unique position Salana has right now. Even if you hate what meme coins are, you still have to recognize that Salana is the only viable competitor to Ethereum when it comes to smart contracts. Out of all major blockchains today, Solana's virtual machine is the only other blockchain stack that people are still actively developing on and using to trade with every day. No matter how you look at the rankings, whether by DeFi TVL, by average wallet counts, by number of transactions, by total dApps volume, Solana still ranks among one of the top. The only other stack here is Ethereum's EVM, but currently that stack is being split up by so many other blockchains, all based on Ethereum's core technology. Sure, there are other up and coming,
which is the layer twos is what he's meaning, because they're all piggybacking off of Ethereum, using it as a settlement layer and using it either as the gas token, and then there you go.
Competitors like Sui and Aptos with their Move VM. However, they are simply uncomparable right now to the adoption of Solana and Ethereum when it comes to wallets, number of users, number of developers, network stability, and the general recognition for its safety. So that begs the question, can Solana actually replace Ethereum to become the king of smart contracts? That's definitely a possibility, and that's why I hold both Ethereum and Solana in my portfolio. However, at the current moment, Solana is still lacking in some some areas. While it is the go-to choice for retail traders, mobile apps, and high-frequency trading, Solana is still lagging behind when it comes to institutional interests and RWAs compared to Ethereum. And overall, scalability is no longer the killer feature of blockchain technology. And I'm not convinced that this alone will be able to make the SOL coin, the asset itself, reach its full potential. Think about all the relic layer 1s from past cycles. NEO, EOS, Polkadot, Tezos. So many coins have come and gone and lasted at most 2 cycles, and eventually they all faded into irrelevance and all their gains were given back to Bitcoin. Are we going to dump Solana for the shiny new layer 1 token next year and then repeat it every cycle? This is a scenario that we really don't want Solana to be in. Going forward, the 2 key areas for Solana's success are institutional adoption and long-term resilience against the rest of the market. For Solana to truly become an asset that's worth holding beyond just the blockchain software alone, it needs to reach a similar status to that of Bitcoin and Ethereum. This requires a longer price history where Solana can have stable performance against Bitcoin over at least 2 cycles.
So these are really good points. And this is actually kind of, piggybacking off of what I was saying. Institutional adoption is stablecoin. Can the blockchain work? Can you mint stables? Can you use the thing? and also with the ETF, and then the thing that I mentioned about the CME Futures, it seems like it could sustain a more stable chart and perform well with Bitcoin over time, but we just have to see. But that's why you kind of hedge your bets. You're like, all right, if that's the case, and then Solana does end up being kind of the pick of basically NASDAQ on-chain trading, where it's like super, super high frequency, like perps, spot, whatever it may be, NFTs going, gaming, just transactions through the roof, and institutions are using it. So it's got its hands in every aspect, and it can survive. Then that is how Solana does become one of the top chains. So that doesn't mean Ethereum's going to go away. I think Ethereum would just get even stronger because of the nature of what it's being picked for something completely different, and also the same, but not exactly all hands in the pot like Ethereum has, because like obviously with Ethereum and gaming, that's not happening. Like it's very expensive to do transactions, and so in terms of like the base layer mainnet of Ethereum handling game, it's not happening. That's why most of the stuff is with layer 2s, or it goes layer 2, or it has some type of fork where they don't have to deal with the fees. But these institutions, they are picking some of these alts, and that's all we have to. We just have to make sure that we have our bags packed before the institutions are coming in and ramping these things up. So like we are looking at Polygon, Avalanche, we're looking at Arbitrum, we're looking at Sol, we're looking at Tron and Ethereum. Sui's got a lot of traction as well. They have. But Solana also too. Solana has a gaming device now, the SG1. There is, and then Sui has the Sui Play, and they have an ecosystem. So it's almost like it's just who's gonna get the users. Like who's gonna get the users? Almost like Nintendo gets market share against the rest of the market. That's how we have to think about it. Because it's competition based. Who is going to win? Who's gonna win? There is a winner. There's going to be a winner. And so you kind of want to have probably most of your money in the winner, right? That's why a lot of people have portioned a lot of their portfolio into Bitcoin because it's performed the best. Your portfolio might survive and have a better chance of an average return and compound interest over time if your portfolio is like a heavier Bitcoin. You could still have a super degen% percentage of alts. But if you're like super heavy Bitcoin, at least you have more Bitcoin. I think your portfolio doesn't get smashed as much, or you don't feel the swings. But then if we are going to come into our altcoin season that we would like, then I think we do have a chance for a portion of your portfolio, whether it be if it's 20%, 30% alts, for you, and or if you want to be like, you want to be 60-40, you want to have 60% Bitcoin, and because that's kind of where I'm at right now. I kind of have like, I'm a little bit more into, I have a little bit more exposure into memes and into altcoins, but I have like 50% Bitcoin and 50% all the other stuff. I should have it a little bit more allocated to Bitcoin, but I think that in my personal portfolio, whether it be ticker Bitcoin, XYO, and Pepe, these are my 3 coins that I think are that I'm just kind of I'm betting on. I'm willing to hold these through this crazy volatile times to try, and then I will be taking profits on them. I'm not gonna like completely round trip myself into oblivion. Stuff like Dogecoin I'm holding, Medieval Empires and Crow. It's kind of what I have a lot more exposure into, and everything else, Oh, and ETH too. Yes, I'm holding ETH. Yes, I have ETH. And I think ETH for sure. I think ETH has a really good chance to go to 10K. And I know it's like 10K again. Everyone's talking about 10K, but if the nature of the institutional adoption of Ethereum is coming down the pipe like it did with Bitcoin, it's just kind of lagging a little bit, then ETH is gonna. And in the TA on ETH right now, it's not just us. Like we're glad that we've been doing the similar ETH TA, but then we looked at some other posts on X, and we were like, okay, cool. We're not the only crazy person. There's some other crazy people saying the same thing. At least getting that break up to 3,200. But I really do think that Ethereum's just kind of having growing pains like Bitcoin did. It's like it has a bit of a growing pain. It's taken a lot. It's taken a lot, but eventually it's gonna. We break the resistance here on the inverse head and shoulders. We break the inverse head and shoulder pattern here, and we break this. Which is the ETH's line in the sand here is like 2,700. We break 2,700. Truly, I think we're off to 3,200. And we've seen what happens with alts when ETH can make a 20% move. And this is the price target though. My true price target for ETH, if we really can break, it's logged, yeah, about 15K. 15K, call it a day. The only reason I'm saying all this crazy stuff is because of this trend, this is all garbage. I think we probably could have hit right there in this area, but we just did some weird sideways trading. Then we hit back up, try to test. But look, we bounced on this bottom trend line here. So I'm just let me get this out of the way, and then I like to do a little moon boy measurement like that. This is kind of where I get this from. From each top to each top here, if we can continue into a level, so it matches about 15 to 17, and it matches with the fib. It matches with the fib, fib extension level. And also, if you look at the RSI, every time we've bottomed here, we've trended up and then hit a point of, and it's really almost the same measurement, very, very, very close to the same measured move from the bottoming of the RSI. So that's kind of why I think we the time frame is the weekly too. This is the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame. And let's go back. Yeah, we'll go back and it usually it's like, okay, so let's see when it happened. Let's see when it happened. So we have December, it bottomed, November and December in 2016. And then it bottomed in December on the 18th. 2022, it looked like it bought. Yeah, I guess it was like June. Yeah, June and July, and then we've bottomed here in April. But then let's see where we hit the top of the RSIs. June, January, March, July. So maybe July. Maybe July. That's when we actually get. That's when we get here. End of June, or June, July. Yeah, right there. Something like that. I think that could be a fair assessment. Oh, Lord. They're liquidating everyone. They're like, we're going to sweep. They're sweeping the market right now. They're sweeping the market. Yeah, we have no idea where Bitcoin is going. No one really knows, but we at least, like, I think we've gotten it right at least enough times. Like, we've been right more on Bitcoin's price action than we've been wrong. So I at least know that, and I can prove it and by my live streams. Like, if I went back and went to all my live streams and look at where we all were speculating, all of us were, it pretty much hit the damn nail on the head. But maybe the time frame was a little off, but shit, we did pretty damn good. But yeah, I mean, it's tricky right now because during these bull market moments, I think historically we've had 30%, 40%, 50% pullbacks in a bull run before it, and it could do it 5-6 times. So this is what we have to survive. We have to survive those pullbacks, mini black swan things, news, whatever it is, because this thing's about to pop. I think the fact that they are manipulating the price so much right now and just trying to trap traders and do all this stuff, all the whilst we have the most bullish institutional sentiment and legislation going down right now than we've ever had before. We have full administration that's bullish crypto, and we have people in seats that we want that are bullish crypto. So this is 100% price manipulation by exchanges and big money. Because if it wasn't that, we would have an actual steady uptick instead of swings. So I think they're suppressing the price. This thing could have already popped to 115, but they are 100%. They are 100% suppressing the price. And how they do it, you just go to data, whale orders, and you can see where they have massive sell orders with Binance, all stacked together, and then also with all these, exchanges. I'd say the biggest culprits are Coinbase and Binance. And that's how they do it. They sweep the market. They sweep it. But my trade might survive. This is the second time it's gotten a hair away from the liquidation point. All right, real quick, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We almost got 20 likes. Let's go. Thank you so much. And here's a quick little commercial. Hey everyone. I just wanted to show you a really quick metric that I found fascinating. So 41% of the people that have been watching this channel and actually liking the channel and the content have not subscribed. 41% of you, but I will say 58% of you subscribed. Amazing, you guys are doing awesome. But I want to say that the people that are not subscribed yet, please, won't you consider subscribing to the channel and joining the Dojo crew where we are educating ourselves in the markets every single day. We're live streaming Monday through Friday, and we're also posting content on a daily basis that is keeping up with these cryptocurrency markets. And this is where the money is flowing right now, guys. So if you want to get these updates and you want to be ahead of the game, I suggest you start subscribing and dinging the bell to be notified whenever I go live and post content, because you do not want to miss it. All right, just had to do a little word from our sponsors. And shout out to PHEMEX and shout out to OURBIT, our two favorite exchanges. We have no positions open right now on OURBIT, but maybe once we see how low this market can go, we could potentially see if we can snatch up a position here. And yeah, I guess. Oh, sorry about the double sound. I had like two of the same sources going at the same time. Sorry. I'll remember that next time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for whoever has subscribed and has been a subscriber and has been watching. I just wanted to put a little message out there for people that are going to tune into this and haven't considered subscribing. So. Let's see, ETH was flirting on these levels. I think ETH was really just flirting. We actually called ETH perfect yesterday. That's why I was so mad at that's why I'm just kind of frustrated at myself. I'm like, I was really calling ETH so well. I was super bullish on ETH. We called that it was going to test up into 2,700, and then seeing the way that it broke down off of that, that probably was that could have been the area where we should have been taking profits. Like right there at 27, and then seeing that we were kind of losing the strength off of that. Right there and then right there would have been the signal. Right there, going down and trading into the middle of the VWAP here. You can see right there and right there not being able to crush through. And I said also, the 200-day moving average, that was the other call. I said, look, if we can trade into the 200-day moving average and then hold it, we're going to blast off to the next level, which would have been 2,800. That like we would have crossed and broke through here and create this range. But instead, we had a lot of sell pressure here for some reason. We had just major sell pressure at the 200-day moving average to push us back down. So it seems like they really wanted to get, I guess, sweep the liquidity, sweep volume, and get the action going back down here. You can see it. It's like pretty crazy. You can see it very apparent here in this area, all right there. And you can see, liquidity right there. Boom, boom, boom. Potential recovery. Maybe that was the bottom. You guys, what do you think? You think that was the bottom? You think that was the bottom? That would be nice. That would be nice today to be able to get a chance. I know it is crazy, man. Shipman, I agree. ETH at this price is just insane. I'm like, what? The fact that it just like it keeps getting these resistance points. It's like I don't know who to blame. Who do I blame for this? Who do I blame for every time ETH gets to a point where it's about to break out, it sells? Is it the ETH Foundation? Is it Binance and Coinbase, like I suspect? It's like they don't want to give us our alts season yet. It's like they're that, because guys, do you understand that the only reason that we haven't got our alt season is because ETH is just doing this annoying thing? This is why we don't have alt season. If ETH ain't going up, nothing ain't gonna go up really. That we see it kind of pump a little bit, but it ain't what we normally would see. So this is why we've been really putting it out there, like to the crypto verse, that we need ETH. We need ETH to pump. And I will blame Binance and Coinbase because I think they are the culprits. They're the most irresponsible companies. They're the most gaslighty companies in the industry. I think the smaller exchanges probably are less scammy than them. That's why I like OURBIT and PHEMEX. It's like they're literally probably like they operate in such a way where I think it more so damages the market than it does help it. Especially Coinbase, because of the way that they've been so irresponsible with outsourcing a lot of their freaking work. Like the customer service like is absolutely atrocious. If you can even get a hold of it, which is hilarious because somehow they were able to get a hold of the customer service to then steal all your freaking data and get this massive hack. And the only reason I am saying this because it's like there's people that do on-chain proof of these things happening. It's Marty Party does it all the time. He posts like, look at what Binance is doing. They're offloading SOL to dump the price. Bitcoin and ETH. But it was crazy, though, how we were calling, like, ETH was looking strong. We're like, man, this thing's going to trade right up into it. I think we made a post on it. That's why you do have to be following me at DanoCrypto904 as well, because we are going to post things very much more rapidly on our X, and this is where you're going to get some of the quicker information. As you can see, oh, yeah, right here. It said ETH about to cross the 200-day moving average and then heading to 27.4. There's the pick. You can see 1249, May 27th. And then if you go here, 225, it smacked right into that level. But that was where I needed to take. That's where I needed to take profits. You idiot! You freaking idiot! This is what you were doing. You were like Neo.
Trinity! Help!
Oh, whoopsie! Sorry, I did not turn my mic back on. Thank you, guys. All right, so this Ethereum will break 4K the second it confirms a breakout above 57. Oh, I wasn't saying anything important. All I said was that was literally me yesterday. I was literally dodging all the attacks and could have. Yeah, my mouth is off. I turned my mouth off. I probably should turn my mouth off. Should stop talking and start trading. Just keep clicking. That's what they say, right? Just keep clicking. Just keep clicking. Just keep on clicking. All right, there's got to be a way that we can get to 20 likes. Yesterday we got the stream to 31 likes, but we streamed for 2 hours. So I don't think we're going to be streaming for that long today. We are already at the hour and a half point. I think about an hour and a half is where we're is a good one. I think we'll be at a good spot. Ooh, looks like ETH is pushing up in VWAP right here on the weighted average price here, right in the middle. Right in the middle here. Looks like it wants to eye this 2660 here. Whoa, hold on. What's happening here? What's happening? Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat.
I meet a lot of exciting people in my... It's been quite a while since I've been to a conference with this level of energy. I mean, hell, you guys came out here at 9 a.m. after a long night, I'm sure, in Las Vegas. You can't do that without a lot of good energy. But I promise I'm not just saying that to juice my own meme coins.
Shout out to Scottish Crypto. Oh my God, please. We got to look at the please.
This isn't a conference of people. This is a movement, and I'm proud to stand with you here today. And I think this conference, this movement of people is where the future of cryptocurrency in this great country gets decided. So let's start by making one thing abundantly clear. That future is going to be decided by the people, by you, not by unelected bureaucrats. Now, as you all probably know, you've got a star-studded lineup here today, including several of my colleagues in the Trump administration. David, Bo, Hester, I know you're all out there. It's great to be among so many friends and allies. So I want to speak for just a few minutes about a few things, and I want to talk a little bit about what we've done in the Trump administration. I want to give you a rundown of what this administration is doing on digital assets policy, but I also want to talk about some of the principles that help guide us as we develop this policy. But before that, I want to speak about why I'm personally optimistic about crypto and what it means for the American people. Now, people ask me why I tend to be bullish on the future of innovation in this country. Now, I spent enough time in Silicon Valley to recognize the difference between good tech, technology that boosts our productivity, makes our lives richer, that grounds us in the real world and complements our day-to-day lives. That's the good technology, but there's also some bad technology out there. And when it comes to crypto, I think the last several years have made it clear that we're talking about genuine, ground-up innovation, one that's already improving the well-being of tens of millions of our fellow citizens. I believe it's 50 million Americans own Bitcoin, and I believe that's going to be 100 million before too long. But it's not just about Bitcoin and about the value that's been generated, the wealth that's been generated by so many millions of our fellow citizens.
Please buy Bitcoin.
Through decentralized finance, crypto has transformed how Americans transact with one another. It's expanded access to banking for many who may not otherwise have had it. And every single day, I feel like I see some groundbreaking new use of blockchain tech, whether it's in supply chain management, whether it's in hospitals, or whether it's in changing how we track and store patients' private health records. But for each of these new forward-looking applications, I also feel like there's an incredibly value-conservative element to crypto technology, and that's as a hedge. Crypto is a hedge against bad policymaking from Washington, no matter what party is in control. It's a hedge against skyrocketing inflation, which has eroded the real savings rate of Americans over the last 4 years. And as you all know well, it's a hedge against a private sector that's increasingly willing to discriminate against consumers on the basis of their basic beliefs, including their politics. That includes, of course, debanking users for Second Amendment advocacy or for ties to the first Trump administration. In Canada, the government did the same to kill those big truck driver protests in 2022. Less than a week later, they succeeded. The protests were over. But maybe most importantly, I see crypto as a hedge against one of the most dangerous trends in the digital era in both the public and private sectors. And that's of elites who, rather than innovate themselves, prefer to simply take over and co-opt cutting-edge technologies to assert their control over other people. And I know we believe this in this room. That's not Bitcoin. It'll never be Bitcoin, and you guys are going to make sure that happens. But as you know, there's a new sheriff in town because after 4 years of mistreatment and outright hostility led by Democrat regulators, lawmakers in this country have a choice. Will we lead our nation into a future of financial sovereignty, of innovation, and of prosperity, or will we let unelected bureaucrats and foreign competitors write the rules for us? And I'm here today to say loud and clear, with President Trump, crypto finally has a champion and an ally in the White House.
Guys, smash up the like button, smash up the
In our administration, we understand the full potential of the digital assets industry, not just as an investment, not just as a flashy technology, but as a symbol and driver of personal liberty for all our citizens. And we are dedicated to seeing that promise fulfilled. The way that we see it, the people in this room are the digital pioneers of the American economy. And that's why our administration is doing something a little unusual in Washington. We're listening to all of you as you blaze the trail of innovation. The innovators in this room are making people's lives better. You're pushing boundaries and solving problems, injecting unprecedented transparency into how we do commerce. And the way we see it, you all deserve a similar level of transparency and clarity. And most of all, you deserve respect and support from your government, not bureaucrats trying to tear you down.
Getting a bounce. We're getting a bounce.
Now that means a few substantive concrete steps. And of course, the first and most important of those steps is straightforward. We've got to clean up the wreckage that the last administration left us. And since day one, that is exactly what we've been trying to do. Our administration, we prioritize eliminating the rules, the red tape, and the lawfare that we saw aimed at crypto by our predecessors. We're ending the weaponization of federal regulations against this community. To put it simply, Operation Choke Point 2.0 is dead, and it's not coming back under the Trump administration.
Let's go. LFG.
And by the way, it's crazy that was ever even controversial, the idea of using the regulatory power of the government to crush an industry and to crush people who espoused a view that you didn't like. It's crazy, but let my words today serve as Operation Choke Point. Let me serve as its obituary. Now this is my vow to every single person here. You will never see this administration trying to handicap your community or diminish the impact it's had on the economy. Instead, we reject the Biden administration's legacy of death by 1,000 enforcement actions. We reject regulators. Maybe the most important thing that we did for this community, we reject regulators and we fired Gary Gensler, and we're going to fire everybody like him.
Yeah. And we're going to fire everyone like him.
And we know that people like Gary Gensler, the game that they played is that under the pretense of consumer protection, they attacked every single effort to democratize our financial markets, and that is over. America I grew up in a working class family. I believe that America is a place where anyone should be able to make a fortune, no matter where you grew up, what degree you may or may not have. And in recent years, I'm hard-pressed to think of a better place to do so than right here in the digital assets industry. Now, our second substantive step is we're trying to create a clear, pro-growth legal framework for stablecoins in this country. And I know we've got some solid allies in Congress. Is Cynthia Loomis out there today, or did she already go home? She already, well, you know, I was supposed to have dinner last night with Cynthia Loomis. We had a little event yesterday, and I looked around, I said, where the hell is Cynthia Loomis? And somebody said, well, she's got a dinner she had to go to. And I said, I'm the vice president. Unless she's having dinner with the president, Cynthia does not have an excuse to skip this event. But we love Cynthia, and I know that she's one of the great advocates for your industry in the United States Congress. Now, I know, led by Cynthia and other great legislators, Congress is hard at work getting the Genius Act passed and across the president's desk as quickly as possible. And that's an important step. It's with good reason, because regulatory uncertainty in this country has pushed way too much stablecoin activity overseas over the last few years. Now, somebody said to me yesterday that Bitcoin has done so much over the last few years with so many headwinds. Wouldn't it be nice to have a government that provided some tailwinds to one of the fastest growing industries in our country? And that's what we aim to do. And once the Genius Act is enacted, it's poised to vastly expand the use of stablecoins as a digital payment system for millions of our fellow Americans. It'll also protect coin holders and inject further transparency into the market. And let me be emphatic on one other point. In this administration, we do not think that stablecoins threaten the integrity of the United States dollar, quite the opposite. In fact, we view them as a force multiplier of our economic might. Dollar-pegged stablecoins, particularly once Genius is enacted, is only going to help the American economy, and it's only going to help the American dollar. So, again, we're optimistic that the Senate is able to move quickly on passing a clean Genius Act, and for the House to follow up and do the same. And of course, once that happens, our great President Trump will sign it into law the minute it comes across his desk. Now, when that's happened, when the administration will then fully shift to our third priority, which is to enact a transparent and tailored regulatory framework for digital assets, one that's pro-innovation and fully incorporates crypto into the mainstream economy. And again, I've talked to so many of you over the last couple of days, and the consistent fear that I hear with all the great things that have happened over the last couple of months, the consistent fear that I hear is that there's still this perception that digital assets are not welcome in the mainstream economy. And let me promise you that our effort to change the policy is purely about changing that. We want our fellow Americans to know that crypto and digital assets, and particularly Bitcoin, are part of the mainstream economy and are here to stay. Now, we think the way to do that legislatively, because again, I hope that our party is in charge for a long time, but nothing is ever guaranteed in politics. So the best way to ensure that crypto is part of the mainstream economy is through a market structure bill that champions and doesn't restrict the extraordinary value that Bitcoin and other digital assets represent. Right now, in this Congress and with this administration, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to unleash innovation and use it to improve the lives of countless American citizens. But if we fail to create regulatory clarity now, we risk chasing this $3 trillion industry offshore in search of a friendlier jurisdiction, and President Trump is going to fight to make sure that does not happen. Think about this. By locking in smart, pro-innovation rules of the road, we can also make sure that Democrats or anybody else never wage another war on the crypto community. Now, I've already hit my time here, but before I head back to Washington, let me offer you just a few bits of advice and a few thoughts on where this industry is going. This is one politician's perspective, so take it for what it's worth. Maybe a little bit less than one Bitcoin right now. But let me say a few things. First of all, I remember when I ran for Senate, the first time I'd ever entered politics back in 2022. And one of the frustrations, honestly, that I had with the crypto community as a person who was one of the only people running for office who actually owned Bitcoin, and I still own a fair amount of Bitcoin today. Think about this. This is during that campaign. That's 2021 and 2022. This feels like an eternity ago, but it was only 4 years ago, is that I recognized what so many advocates of Bitcoin recognize, which is what the Biden administration was doing, what Gary Gensler was doing was a disaster, and yet there didn't seem to be any real organization pushing back against it at the political level. And let me say that part of the reason that I'm standing here, part of the reason that Bernie Moreno defeated Sherrod Brown in the Senate campaign last year is because you guys got organized and got involved in American politics, and I'm grateful to you for that. But there's a lesson to take from that experience, which is that unless you guys get involved in politics, politics is going to ignore this industry. Now, you took a big step in 2024, and I'll tell you, every victory that we win, it's only a provisional victory. You know, one of my great mentors in Silicon Valley always told me that, Bitcoin, that the crypto community was about exit and artificial intelligence was about voice. Well, I know that a lot of people in 2024 in this community chose voice. You chose to speak up and you chose to get involved, and I believe you changed the direct trajectory of our country because of it. But you got to keep on choosing voice. Bitcoin, of course, people call it digital gold. But while Bitcoin is digital, none of you are. None of us are. What happens in the world of politics, what happens in the world of bureaucracy, it will affect even the most transformational and valuable technologies if we don't make the right decisions. So the first piece of advice, the first thing that I'd ask you is to take the momentum of your political involvement in 2024 and carry it forward to 2026 and beyond. Don't ignore politics, because I guarantee you, my friends, politics is not going to ignore this community, not now and not in the future. The second thing that I want to toss out there is that we have to start thinking of the long-term strategic implications of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is owned by about 50 million Americans. A lot of Americans have made a lot of money, have created a lot of wealth for themselves, and that's a great thing. But I actually think that where Bitcoin is going is as a strategically important asset for the United States over the next decade. It's one of the reasons why President Trump, with the help of our great AI guy, David Sachs, it's one of the reasons why we started the Bitcoin Reserve, because we want to start to put in motion the strategic importance of Bitcoin for the United States government. We know that the PRC doesn't like Bitcoin. The People's Republic of China doesn't like Bitcoin. Well, we should be asking ourselves, why is that? Why is our biggest adversary such an opponent of Bitcoin? And if the Communist Republic of China is leaning away from Bitcoin, then maybe the United States ought to be leaning into Bitcoin, and that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. But that's not a vice president standing up here and talking at you. The way that Bitcoin is involved in the strategic future of our country, that's got to be a two-way conversation. And so when I talk about getting involved in politics, one of the things that you guys got to do is continue to give us feedback and continue to tell us the ways in which Bitcoin can play a positive role in the strategic future of this country. I know the Bitcoin Policy Institute is working on this very topic now, but all of you have got to be involved in this conversation, because I don't think any of us want to wake up in a country 10 years from now that is less wealthy and less prosperous because we made bad decisions today. We're going to make the right decisions, but that depends on you guys being part of the conversation. So be part of that conversation. And here's the third thought that I want to leave you with. You know, one of the ways you hear this stated is that crypto is fundamentally a conservative or right-leaning technology, and artificial intelligence is fundamentally a left-leaning or a communist technology. Now, I think that overstates things a little bit in both directions, but there's a fundamental element of truth to it. Now, I haven't been involved in the day-to-day operations of a technology company in about 4 years since I entered politics for the very first time. But what I've noticed is that very smart right-wing people in tech tend to be attracted to Bitcoin and crypto, and very smart left-leaning people in tech tend to be more attracted to AI. Again, that's a gross generalization, it's an overstatement, but there's an element of truth to it. But what I'd ask you all is to remember that what happens in AI is very much going to affect, in good and bad ways, what happens to Bitcoin. And of course, what happens to Bitcoin is very much going to affect what happens in AI. So, while this is certainly a Bitcoin conference, and I know we're all proud of what you guys have accomplished over the last 10 years, my final piece of advice is to make sure you're keeping tabs on and staying involved in what's happening with artificial intelligence, because I don't want Bitcoin to be negatively affected by what happens in AI, and most importantly, I don't want America to be negatively affected by what happens in AI. And the best way to ensure that smart people are at the AI conversation is to ensure that Bitcoin is part of the artificial intelligence conversation. Our administration is committed to it. I want you guys to be committed to it as well. I just want to say, in the next few years in the Trump administration, we've accomplished a lot, but we have plans to continue to make big progress for this industry and for the American people who rely on it. The whole of government, we're going to need your help, we're going to need your guidance, we're going to need your encouragement, and at times, yes, because this is politics, our politicians are going to need your pressure. So, have fun this week, but keep the pressure up. And we'll do great things together for our industry, but most importantly, for the cause of personal freedom and the United States of America. God bless you guys, and thanks for having me.
All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end it. I just wanted to play that, just, you know, see what he says, see how the markets are reacting. We were looking at the Please meme coin, which looks like it's dumping now. It was good going up a little bit. Now it looks like it's dumping a little bit. But all right, guys, looking at Bitcoin, let's look at Bitcoin real quick before we go. Bitcoin is really just, yeah, you can see it. You can see it. I don't know what's going to happen today, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We might be back later. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for smashing up the likes, hitting the subscribe button. If you are new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. I'll give a shout out to all the new subscribers. Real quick, let's go to the subscribers, and we'll give you a shout out over the past 7 days. We got Nick Karam, we got Random Particle, Edit Polly, Warlord Stewart, Polymouth, and Why is Bob Sad? So shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the new subscribers. And shout out to all the OG people that have been here almost from day one. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. God bless you. And have a good rest of your day. And we'll see you later. Peace out.
This token is the end.